And for further analysis, we're joined from Washington by contributing editor at the Newsweek, Mr. Peter Rolfe. Welcome to Qnews Economic Bulletin. Mr. Rolfe, what were the key factors that likely underpinned the Federal Reserve's decision to keep interest rates steady, despite the ongoing inflationary pressures that we are observing?
Well, it's interesting, but there are going to be a lot of analysts who will be thinking, even if they won't say it, that the contretemps between the president and Chairman Powell have a lot to do with interest rates remaining where they are. That Powell does not believe that he has to or should bend to the president's call for easier money simply to preserve the independence of the Fed. It's unfortunate because I do think interest rates are too high. I don't think they need to come down as low as where the president wants them to be. But remember, as a real estate developer, he's a borrower, not a lender. So he likes low rates. I do think the rates are higher than they need to be. Inflation's 2%, down from 9.1 at the peak in the Biden administration. But it's not going to happen because Powell believes that he needs to preserve in his remaining months as chairman the independence of the Federal Reserve.
So how do you assess the Federal Reserve's understanding of the impact of current U.S. tariff policies on inflation and the overall economic growth?
Again, I think that the economic conversation has been subordinated to Powell's desire, supported obviously by a majority of the other Fed governors, to make clear that the Fed is an independent entity.
And regarding
the economic signs are good. Growth was 3% in the second quarter. And remember, Barack Obama, when he was busy doing his stimulus packages more than a decade ago, was his people like Austin Goolsbee, who's now a Fed governor and is a very smart guy, were telling us that, the days of 3% growth are gone forever. Well, the economy grew at 3%, and that's even with the uncertainty about whether or not taxes were going to go up at the end of the year. Now we know that taxes aren't going up at the end of the year. The corporate rate will stay where it is. The personal rates, which affect small businesses where growth, investment, and expansion come, that they're not going to get hit with a higher tax bill. And the president is bringing investment deals back to the United States from his overseas travel that like we have never seen. And that's not factored into second quarter 25 GDP growth. That's future growth coming. So we know the ingredients for a boom, at least a mini boom, are all being assembled. When that happens, then interest rates are going to have to come down.
Okay, so with regards to the revenue collected from tariffs, which is reportedly around $30 billion monthly for the U.S. Treasury, how might such significant fiscal inflows indirectly influence the broader economic landscape or inflation outlook?
Well, I'm not a tariff expert. That's a question that I'm not sure I know the answer to. I can say, though, that what we are seeing in second quarter growth numbers is that the growth came from the private sector, not the public sector. Much of the growth that was reported in the Biden years was growth in government. We're seeing real growth in the real economy. And that's despite gloom and doom predictions that the tariffs would kill it. Imports do have an impact. Imports were down. That may have something to do with growth in domestic manufacturing. It may not. I don't know. That's not my best. That's not the place where my analysis is. I think is at this point.
Okay, so let me move to another question, Mr. Roth. Now, two Fed governors reportedly dissented today, favoring a rate cut. What does this signal about the internal debate within the Federal Reserve on current monetary policy strategy?
The consensus for rate cuts is beginning to build. Again, as I said, I think the politics have overcome the economics. This is not the first time that's happened at the Fed. There have been Fed governors and Fed chairs who've eased money to help presidents they liked and who've tightened money to hurt presidents they didn't like. But in this case, I think that Powell thinks, and probably a not insignificant number of his colleagues, if not a majority, that responding to the president's demand for lower interest rates is a concession that the Fed is no longer independent. The Fed is an appendage of the presidency, and they cannot allow that precedent to be established, and they will not allow that precedent to be established on their watch.
Okay. Well, from Washington, that was a contributing editor at the Newsweek, Mr. Peter Roth. Thank you for your valuable insights.